Today I decided I was finally unlocking the bus in Stardew Valley. And then I checked the bundle and realized I was missing quite literally everything. And unlocking this thing costs 42,500 gold, which I do not have. So this is either gonna go really well or really bad. So today I'm not stopping until this bundle is finished, no matter how long it takes. We opened the first day by contemplating if this was even possible, because unlocking a big bus means you have to have big money. And well, you can see. I'm struggling in that department. But after doing what I like to call girl math, I only needed 42,500 gold, which shouldn't take too long, right? Right? So with a clear plan and absolutely no financial stability, we began the grind. After watering my crops, I decided that the path to financial stability would definitely involve copious amounts of fishing. So that is where we began. So I fished, and fished some more, and I was ready to make the big bucks. This may take longer than I thought. On day 2, I headed to the mines to get some resources for the mayonnaise machine, which I'm not really sure why I did this considering I have no animals on my farm. But whatever works, farmer. I then made my way to— oh my god, it's Sam. I then made my way to Pierre's to do the opposite of what this challenge is all about. I spent all of my money. However, you know what they say. You gotta spend money to make money. I'm doomed. I walked back to my farm and then laid out patches for my seeds I bought. I was also able to grab some foraging materials because if I'm gonna be broke, I might as well be resourceful. After completing the summer foraging bundle, I headed back to the farm, did some smelting, made some sprinklers for efficiency, and then I headed to bed. On day 3, I started by being the best plant mom ever. I know, they're so lucky to have me. I then decided to make Willie proud by fishing anywhere I could fish. I then decided to visit the man himself, but he then alluded to something behind this door? Anyways, I then found this neat thing that lets me change the color of my bobber. Hooray!
Slay.
I walked around on the beach for a little and oh my god, it's Sam again. What I meant to say was, I found this cool shell and it made me a lot of money. I'm not even gonna lie, this shell becomes a clutch grab later on. I mean, look at this. For a shell? On day 4, I spent most of my time fishing next to the legend himself, and as I journeyed home, I decided if I was going to unlock this bus in a reasonable amount of time, I needed to start grinding. No, not that kind of grinding. Aww. On day 5, I was then triggered by Alex saying he smelled a barbecue because in turn, that made me want to eat barbecue.
That sounds good. A barbecue.
After some fishing, aka what I apparently excel at in this game now, I headed towards the help wanted sign and saw a post from Rasmodius requesting that someone, aka me, slay a squid kid. Just as I was about to click away, I saw he was gonna pay me 350 gold for this. Hell yeah! So I accepted the quest and headed towards whatever a squid kid was. Actually, maybe I should look that up first. After a brief moment of figuring out exactly what the heck I was supposed to be slaying, I headed to the mines. I reached level 96 of the mines, one-shotted a squid kid because my farmer is a girl boss, and then I sent my farmer to the wizard's house so I could get that sweet gold. Slay. On day 6, I walked outside of my house only to be scared by a crow. I saw that my peppers had finally grown and I was ready to sell them to make some money. I headed towards town, accepted a quest from Gus. The quest involved me getting him a pike so he could rub it on his sore toes. But at this point, my farmer would do anything for some gold. So we headed towards the river to fish for a pike. After a brave fight with a pike, I was finally able to get the fish Gus needed for his sore toe. I proceeded to fish until night because, alas, I am still broke. And then I headed to sleep. On day 7, I realized I could buy the very first 5,000 gold bundle. However, I decided to save all of my money until the full amount is reached. I headed to the beach where I picked up some random shells in hopes they would make me rich. While fishing, I received a treasure chest that gifted me a rusty spoon. Okay, salad fingers. I see you. I woke up the next day and was blessed by the rain and my dad. Thank you, Father. My wild summer seeds had also grew, so I sold all of those. I headed towards Clint's and he opened my mystery box and frozen geode. I then fished in the rain for a while, which I'm sure made my farmer absolutely hate me as she must be soaking wet by now. But anything for the gold. Am I right? I then accepted a request from Alex saying he needed spice berry to rub on his sore knee. Oh well, at least it's not his toe. I had happened to have seen a spice berry earlier, so I headed to get it and then returned to Alex where he presented me with a ticket and 240 gold. I used the ticket to get mixed flower seeds. Yay. I fished for the rest of the night until it was time to sleep. On day 9, I was greeted with a letter about the luau, so I mainly spent most of the day deciding what to bring for that. And then on day 10, Demetrius showed up at my door asking to put in either a mushroom cave or a bat cave, and I sure as hell am not having bats on my farm, so mushroom cave it is. I then headed to the luau where I decided to gift these villagers with my beautiful, freshly caught halibut for their soup. And obviously the luau was a success because of my fish. On day 11, I spent most of the day cutting down trees on my farm so I could make space for a coop. We began day 12 by grabbing hot peppers and tomatoes and selling them for profit. I forced my farmer to walk through the soaking rain to deliver a single tomato to the summer crops bundle. After that, I accepted a quest from Clint and headed straight to the mines to collect 10 coal. While in the mines, I somehow became prophetic because just as I was thinking about how I wanted a ghost fish, I received a ghost fish. What is that a ghost fish? Oh my god. I also saw this weird looking shadow slime. What is that? On day 13, I was greeted by green rain. As I collected my crops, I prayed the green rain did not wipe out the entire village. I also once again received a request from Clint to get him 10 coals from the mines. Thinking that since I had already accepted this request previously and had not yet turned in the coal, I hoped that I would get twice the money for only half the work. I was wrong. So I journeyed back into the mines to get some more coal for Clint, because once again, anything for that gold. Am I right, guys? Right, guys? After eradicating an entire family of dust sprites, I once again met up with Clint and gave him more coal, and then spent the rest of the day chopping trees for a coop. As I was chopping, I realized it was almost 2 a.m. I raced back to my bed only to pass out. Right in front of my bed. Are you kidding me? And as I laid there, passing out on my bed, I felt like we were still nowhere close to our goal. Then the next day I received a letter stating my farm would be featured on STV. My farm is going viral. I headed to the community center and finished the summer crop bundle and then headed towards Robin's to buy a coop, which once again, I am not sure why I did this because I never end up going to get any farm animals whatsoever. I then spent the rest of the day fishing because, well, fishing makes me rich, so therefore it is my new favorite pastime. On day 15, my flowers had grown and so had some peppers, so I did what any poor farmer would do and sold them all immediately. I also decided to sell only one jade instead of the 2 that I had in the chest, which ended up being a big move later on that day. I headed to Clint, who opened a mystery box for me, which ended up having some speed grow inside. I reviewed the help wanted board and received a request from Mario asking for jade. I knew I was gonna need that jade earlier. I am a genius. Anyways, I rushed back to my chest to get the jade and then spent half the day looking for Maru. After standing outside of her house like a stalker for several seconds, I realized where she was. At work. Like, where literally any normal person would be during the day. I rushed to Harvey's office to find Maru. I found this weird sign about bone disintegration.
Oh, complete disintegration of one or more bones. How lovely.
And then finally received a prize ticket and gold for my efforts. I alas ended the night doing what I always do. Fishing. I never want to see another fish after this challenge, I swear to God. On day 16, I unlocked what I believe to be the key to my salvation, the preserves jar. I quickly harvested all of my crops that grew and immediately started to craft the preserves jars. I then began to wait for the jars until I realized these were going to take more time than I thought. And well, let's just say, time is not my friend. I spent the rest of the day getting copper so I can upgrade my axe, but I never ended up actually upgrading it, so I don't know what I was thinking, but it's in the past now, so. I also received a request from Pierre to catch a red mullet, and well, by now, we all know I won't turn down fishing time. So I immediately headed for the ocean. After finding more of my expensive shells that I charge an absolutely criminal price for, even though you can quite literally just pick them up off of the beach, I caught a red mullet and headed for Pierre, and was very disappointed when I could not find him anywhere. On day 17, my first order of business was to find Pierre. After giving him his fish, I had a moment of psychosis where I thoroughly believed the red coral was part of a bundle.
Bro, where does this go? Doesn't this go somewhere? Am I stupid? Okay, so I'm like literally dumb.
I then headed towards the mines to kill lava crabs because earlier in the day I had accepted a request from Demetrius to slay 4 of them. After running low on energy, I decided to head back home and allow my farmer a moment of rest. But that didn't last long, because on day 18 I was back at it in the mines, slaying crabs and almost dying to my arch nemesis, the slime. After a quick pizza break, I headed back to the mines and slayed the final crab. I then stalked Demetrius while he was out on his date with Robin so I could finally receive my prize for slaying the crabs. I then went home, sold everything I had collected from my time in the mines, and got ready for the next day. On day 19, I started off the day by putting my last melon in the preserves jar, and then I headed to my mailbox to receive a request from Demetrius. Demetrius requested 1 melon. Are you kidding me? Let's just say I didn't have a melon to give him. Alright. I also saw that today was the fishing derby, which I had actually never done before, so I fished for a while and received 2 prizes. After doing that, I headed back to the beach where I found an oyster and was then able to complete the crab pot portion of the fishing bundle. On day 20, I started to get excited because we were finally nearing our goal. Just 13,735 gold left to go. So close. I watered my crops, put some tappers on trees, sold whatever I had, and then decided to end the day. Day 21 started off strong with me receiving 500 gold right out of the gate. Thank you, Mayor Lewis. I harvested and sold my crops, accepted a request from Robin to get her 25 pieces of stone, headed to the mines to collect stone, and then received 200 gold from her for my efforts. I decided to do some foraging and fishing on the beach for the rest of the day since I practically lived in the ocean at this point, and then went home to sleep. On days 22 and 23, I nervously accepted a request from Evelyn to get her a red mushroom. And let's just say, after many failed attempts of trying to get this mushroom, She did not get her mushroom.
I hate you.
And then on day 24, George quite literally made my day by requesting a hot pepper.
George, you're in luck, buddy, because I've got plenty of hot peppers just for you.
After gifting George his hot pepper and maybe side-eyeing Evelyn a little bit,
Classic side eye.
I did what any farmer would do in the pouring rain. More fishing! I returned to the farm to see, after what felt like 75 years, my orange tree finally did something. My orange tree. After submitting the orange tree for a bundle, I headed off to bed. On day 25, I spent the entire day either fishing or stalking Leah so I could give her a hot pepper. After I finally found her through stalking her every move on the Stardew Wiki, she rewarded me with gold and a prize ticket.
And we all know I love a good old prize ticket.
I then used the prize ticket to get a whole ass bed, because who doesn't love a new bed? On day 26, I found a mysterious bookseller that I had never seen before, and now I know why. I mean, just look at those prices! Yeah, pal, I don't think so. For a change of pace, I decided to head into the mines to A, assert my dominance, and B, see if I could collect any gems to sell. I ended up finding a surprising amount of gems, so I called it a day. On day 27, I didn't really do a ton because I was way too excited for the Moonlight Jelly.
This is my favorite event that happens in this game.
I did, however, see the train, collected 5 geodes, and some leprechaun shoes. I also found out you could change the music on the jukebox in the tavern, so I may have spent a good amount of time cycling through the different songs and most likely annoying every villager inside. And finally, it was time for some jellies. On day 28, I was feeling very refreshed after the Moonlight Jelly Festival, and then I walked out to the straight depression of seeing almost all of my crops had died during the season change. Aww. I ran over to Pierre's, got some more seeds, planted said seeds, fixed the beach bridge, and did some more fishing for the 100th time during this playthrough. On day 29, I woke up and realized something. At the beginning of this playthrough, I gave myself one challenge. I was going to unlock this bus no matter what it took. And now, we're only 300 gold away. Let's do this. 300 gold. After everything. This is what it comes down to. I sold everything I had earned that day and went straight to bed to see our grand total. 42,919. Let's go! Yeah! I then headed straight to the community center and spent all of my money. Woohoo! Let's go! Yes! Oh my gosh. The house was empty for years. The trees moved in and so did we. Ooh. Show me my star. Yes! We did it! New profile picture. I was honestly so excited to see the bus in action that after I spent all my money, I headed to bed early. On day 31, I was haunted by a vision of Judamos fixing the bus in the middle of the night. I then ran to the bus to witness the fruits of my labor, only to see I had to wait on Pam. Gosh dang it, Pam. At 10:20, I came back, bought a ticket that costed me basically all of my gold, and left for Calico Desert. And finally, it was time. I stood outside the cave to the Skull Cavern and entered. There was a slight chill as I approached the door. I inserted the key, and well, I finally stepped inside.